Our company's called American Eagle Gold. I'm going to call it American Eagle Copper and Gold so people can stop asking questions whether or not we have copper, why we're called gold. The symbol's AE on the TSX Venture. If you have to know anything, that's what you should know. It is Canada's most exciting porphyry discovery. If you know something more exciting, feel free to email me, amorrow@americaneaglegold.ca. This is our site. That is a clear cut. This gives you an idea of how great our infrastructure is. I tell people this right now. We don't use a helicopter. We can drive a golf cart right onto our property. And infrastructure is very important. It's about half the price to drill on our property in the Babine region than it is to drill in the Golden Triangle. So just starting there, remember our symbol, AE on the TSX Venture. Now, look, I'm not going to tell you macro tips. You probably don't want to listen to me. You'll probably lose money. I think any macro tips coming out there, you flip a coin. But I will give you some tips investing in the junior mining space, at least in my honest opinion. And they're 5 C's. And I believe we have each of those 5 C's. First C is Canada. Our projects in Canada, I think if you invest in any junior company, should be in a safe jurisdiction. When I'm looking at safe jurisdictions, I look at 3 places: United States of America, Canada, or Australia. And I personally like Canada. With Panama and the whole thing with First Quantum happening, I think every other country is kind of off the tables with geopolitical risk. So, American Eagle's NAC projects right in central BC. It's a great country to be in. Second thing, any junior company you look at, it doesn't matter if they're the greatest property in the world. The most important thing is having cash. We have cash. We have $15 million of cash. We have enough cash that the interest rate that we get in the bank will pay for our G&A. So that's a big thing. We are cashed up for this year and next year for 2 programs that are bigger combined each year than the historical work that we've done in the last 2 years on our property. The third thing's copper. That's another C. Copper, I think, is going to be the best metal moving forward for all the things that Robert just said. Robert, thank you for saving 30 seconds of my time. The fourth C is a credible partner. It's hard. A lot of people didn't know who we were. There's 1,000 other CEOs saying the same thing that I say. I got the best project. And I always say it's like getting stuck in an avalanche. You don't know what's up or down, who's telling lies, who's not. You need a credible investor, partner. You could have letter writers, etc. But the best investors are guys that spend a year. They put $5 million into your projects. They have guys that have developed, built, found mines. That's Tech Resource. They didn't do 1, they didn't do 2, they did 3 investments with us last year. Each one's at a premium without a warrant. They believed in us. They put blood, sweat, and tears into our projects. They found a mine called Hemlo, Voisey's Bay, Afton, etc. Maybe the next one is NAC. So we have a credible partner. Fourth C. The fifth C, extra. We need news. It's catalyst. So we have a lot of news coming out. We just started drilling. We're about 1/10 through our program. We're going to have news coming all the way throughout the year. So we're in Canada. We got cash. But the other thing is, you want reasons for the stock to go up. We have a lot of news coming out. And the only thing that can create a strategic increase in your stock price is your drill holes. So we're going to hopefully have a lot of great drill holes to announce in the upcoming months. I got a bonus C for everyone. We have a Chilean hole in BC. So I believe we had a lot of great drill holes in our 16 previous drill holes before we released 2317. But it was a pretty crappy market. You don't need good drill holes. You don't need great drill holes. You need exceptional drill holes. So this hole we ended up with last year, we're trading about 26 cents, 302 meters of 1.09% copper equivalent from 85 meters down hole within 606 of 0.74. That's an exceptional hole. That hole is good in Chile. It's good in the Congo. It's certainly great in Canada. And we defied the odds. So our stock went from 26 cents. It hit all the way to 83 cents because people just didn't spend 10 seconds to look at us. What they did is they spent 10 minutes and they peeled the onion and they realized we got a lot of great results that nobody even knew about. So if you look at our 16 previous holes before 2317, I would say about 6 of them would be deemed great holes in BC. And that's what people started to realize. And even some of our quote unquote weaker holes, called 800 meters of 0.22% copper equivalent, they did intersect high grade somewhere within that. And there's a lot of smoke there, and you can only be lucky so far. And we've hit copper and gold in every single hole. And if this was a mine, it'd all be mineable. So that's kind of what the stock didn't go up because of 2317. 2317 allowed people to look at our company in a whole and realize we have a lot more to the story than one drill hole. Now, next slide. I'm going to give a quick oral history of NAC. I'm going to back up a bit. Maybe some people don't know about NAC. So let me start off really quickly. So that's my uncle there in the top left right here. Here's the reason why I got into mining. His name was Gary Artmont. He found this project called NAC. And this next picture here, that's him in Indonesia. He was the chief exploration geologist for Freeport-McMoRan for the Grasberg mine. And he was my favorite uncle, and I'm guessing I was maybe his favorite nephew. And he said, Tony, you need to get this project. He was the second best geophysical target I have ever seen. And I said, Gary, well, they've done a lot of historical drilling, a lot of different owners there. Like, I don't know if it's going to work for us. I said no to it twice. Eventually came to me and he grabbed me and he goes, you're a bean counter. Trust me on this. I'm going to be right. So we ended up getting it. And what happened was we looked at the historical work, and Noranda was there before. Noranda actually gave an assay of their stuff. And they actually had a lot of great drill holes. But the problem was when they last drilled this program, in a big program in 1995-96, guess what copper price was at? 60 cents a pound. Gold was at $400 an ounce. You couldn't you couldn't have access. You had to take helicopter, and people were looking for something close to surface, and they just left it. And my uncle says this is the real deal. He gave it a comparison to Red Chris. Red Chris has pretty decent stuff at surface, but the reason why Newmont bought them was because the stuff at depth, starting about 1,000 meters. So he said, you guys gotta hit the deep hot spot, the jewel box he called it, at depth, do vertical holes and try and hit that heat source. He goes, I know it's there. So we did 7 holes. 4 of the 7 were vertical. And on our first hole, this is what kind of changed everything. We hit 125 meters of almost 1.1% copper equivalent from surface. And no one had hit such a great drill hole before. And we knew that could be the start of a mine. And we started to hit stuff at medium depth and at deep depth. And from that information on a 7 drill hole program, Tech Resources came in and they invested in us 3 times. And that kind of put us on the map and made people realize, American Eagle and NAC, actually is for real. And on the back of that, it gave us more money to drill. We got a lot more money after that. Now we're sitting with $15 million in the bank. And now we can sit back and comfortably drill and follow a plan. So that's what we're doing right now. That's history. Now, the one thing I got to say, my uncle actually passed away 2 weeks after we started drilling, and he was obsessed with geology. And he said, I'm going to sit here in my room in Ecuador, and I'll know from the core whether or not I'm right. And we first pulled that core out of the ground for 2201. He called me on Skype. He said, I'm right about this. This is going to be a deposit. And so far, so good. We've changed our price from 2 cents to 81 cents in about 18 months. So far, my uncle's right. I know he's looking down on us. And the great thing about our property, we're located in Canada, and not only Canada, in an area with great infrastructure. We're right near Smithers, BC. It's about an hour flight from Vancouver, and from Smithers, about an hour 15 minutes to site. So it's got great infrastructure, access to power, access to people, ability to drill all the year round. And that's important because, if you're going to build a mine, you want to be somewhere where people want to live. This is kind of reminds me of Collingwood, Ontario a bit. It's a really nice town. So yeah, infrastructure is really the key. This is our 2024 drill program. Those white little dots you see there, those are our collars. We drilled pretty much along a fence, 200 meters wide, 750 meters north to south. 4 of the 7 were vertical. The other 2 of 7 were going kind of north-south in a line. So we drilled along a very narrow fence. We hit on all the holes. 2204 and 2201 and 2202 were the best holes that we had. Those yellow holes were our collars for 2023 after Tech invested in us. 2308 was actually going to kind of take some of that nice high grade that we got in 2201, but we ended up hitting stuff all the way going west where no one had ever drilled. It was 775 meters of 0.5% copper equivalent. And in this business, you kind of almost have to fake it till you make it. And at that point, I realized this thing's going to be a mine. That's a huge intercept. And we kept on hitting great stuff after that. Now, those 2 little green boxes you see, those are areas that have never, ever been drilled on our property. And those are the areas where we've seen the most joy. So that's kind of our opportunity, and that's where we're going to focus in 2024. Now, I'm going to kind of go next to the plan of 2024. So we got kind of a 3-step plan here. Those red boxes are our near-term plan. Charlie Gregg, who runs CJ Gregg and Associates, he's the guy that helped sell and find GT Gold and sold them to Newmont. He always says, don't leave the dance without the girl that you went there with. So we're drilling in that big box. We're going to connect the 2312 and 2317, show that there's scale. That little red square you see there, that's where we have high-grade gold. And that smaller square within the big red square, that's where we believe the jewel box is possibly hiding. That's kind of sourcing all this copper mineralization at surface. And then, the blue and the green squares are something we're going to go to afterwards. The one thing that Tech did ask us for 2309 was go and drill, show this thing has massive world-class scale. And I call it a drunk drill hole because there was next to no information what to drill except it was 750 meters away from any historical drill hole. And we hit on it. So we hit about 0.4% copper equivalent from surface for 125 meters, which is great on a blind drill hole. So our big focus now is kind of walking over towards 2309 to show how that mineralization does expand. We believe that mineralization expands all the way around that little blob you see in the middle. It's a Babbing porphyry stock, and it's almost like a cauldron sitting over the flames. Those flames coming around is what we think is the mineralization. So that's what we're starting to focus on this year. Now, if you look at our stock price, we're trading at about 2.5 cents November 7th, 2022. We hit as high as 83 cents. This year, we're up almost 300%. So it's a big, steady raise, and we're doing quite well. We got an $84 million market cap. We have almost $15 million in cash. I believe we only have 2 million warrants still outstanding. So a lot of blue sky ahead. People always ask me, why is the stock down? I go, well, we're up a lot. Well, you guys hit 83 cents. Well, I can't really answer why the stock's down. One thing I do know, stocks go up, stocks go down. And you're going to lose your mind trying to figure out why it kind of sells off one day or another. Market may be down. Somebody may have died. Somebody may want to buy a pool. Maybe someone's sitting at 1,000% gain. I don't know, but I focus on who's buying. So that's what I do on a day-to-day. Now, I think a lot of the people look at this, they're like, well, the guys are up like, 1,500% in the last 18 months. Maybe we missed the up wave. Now, let me show you another stock. I guess you can guess what stock this is. It's Snowline Gold. So Snowline Gold came from about a 40-cent base, and they're now trading at 540. And if you're looking at them in late 2022, maybe you're the same position you're at with American Eagle right now. Maybe you missed the run. You missed the run for 20 cents to 90 cents. But guess what? If you bought that stock at 60 cents, $1.40, it didn't really matter. It's trading at 540 right now. They have a lot of advantage. They probably got 2 years of drilling on us, but they're also based in the Yukon. We have better infrastructure, and our drilling is half the price. So we have advantages on our side. They are a great company. They got $70 million in cash, but I'm just doing a comparison. Don't look at where your stock came from. Look at the comps that you have and where you think that price can go in the future. Snowline's a great company, and Scott Birdall's an amazing guy. Now, a little update, little ode to Norm Macdonald, my favorite host of SNL Weekend Update. So now 2418, it's done. We TD'd at 915 meters. We're seeing great mineralization all the way through. 2419, which is a hole that's coming from around 2201, coming southeast. So trying to expand that high-grade gold at surface, but explore over to the east towards the IP embayment. We're at about 500 meters there right now, and we just collared 2420 a couple of years ago. We're closing in on 100 meters. We're doing a lot of field work with that $50 million. We don't just have to focus on drilling. We can focus on field work. And what we're trying to do, see if there's any kind of outcrops or porphyry that we can see from surface. Historically on our property, one of the reasons why they didn't do a lot of drilling after the mid-90s, they couldn't see any outcrops. So we got a field of guys going out there with picks, trying to see if anything comes to surface. Because if things come to surface, it allows your drilling and your targets to be a lot easier. I mentioned our assays. Our assays are going to come all the way out throughout the year. And I mentioned other there. Don't be surprised if there's more information coming out. We did a partnership with Tech, but what you got to realize, we don't have a ROFR with Tech. So, that's just something just to keep in mind. Now, artificial intelligence, everyone always asks me about artificial intelligence. It's really interesting. The only good thing about artificial intelligence, like Robert Sin said, it's going to be that copper demand coming from all the AI. But, in terms of us using AI to find targets, look, I think geophysics is enough of a crapshoot on its own. Then use robots to try and understand the geophysics. I just use Charlie Gregg and stuff to try and understand this. The best use for artificial intelligence for junior mining companies, I think, don't spend the money on artificial intelligence. Put it in the NVIDIA stock. I think that's the best return you can have. AI, I think it's a way for companies at this point right now, just to say they're doing something, but it means you don't have enough cash to drill. Drilling's king. It's the only way of sustainable value, and that's what we're doing. Canada, cash, copper, credible investor, catalyst. That's what we have. One thing I got to say, this is not a trading stock, it's a buy and hold stock. And I said this last year, pretend you're Han Solo. I'm going to wake you up in 2 years. Wait till we are. Just wait. And finally, remember that TSX venture. My son, Charlie, turned 2 years today. That's him at our favorite pizza joint. He's a big rep for the company. I just want to say hello to him, and thanks for watching.
All right, so Tony just gave investment advice to buy NVIDIA stock at a $3 trillion market cap. So a year from now, when NVIDIA's dropped 25%, don't get too angry at it. Okay. Um,
Well, Rob, all your money's going to go down the drain if you spend it on AI on finding targets. Maybe you'll lose
No,
half
it's
of
true.
NVIDIA.
All right. No, I'm teasing you. Okay, so we have a couple of questions from the audience. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Tony. Kind of an odd question, but I'll throw it at you anyway. How many people do you have cutting core at NAC? And how many people are allowed to touch the core, like, the drill core and the core shack?
How many people are cutting core? We have two core cutters. There's usually, well, there's two core cutters at once. Those guys rotate on their shift. I think I know what someone's referring to. We had a picture on Twitter where Charlie Gregg was looking at some core. People are trying to grasp on anything, but look, he was looking at the core. He's not handling the core every day. That's not even a gold ring. And he wasn't even touching the picture. But I think it's the doldrums of summer, and people are grasping at straws and trying to find something to talk about. But it's I don't know. I guess it's entertainment for everyone.
Um, my question would be, so I look at your drill progress and it's exceptional. 915 meters in the first hole of this year's program, and then over 500 meters so far in hole 19. What's the rate per day that you guys are doing right now? Is it like 40 meters or more?
Yeah, look, the target's about 60 to 65 meters a day. Um,
Okay.
we can get more some days. The other day we got 70 meters on a shift. But I think when you average, stuff that's close to surface versus stuff that's deep, which obviously takes longer, you want to average 60 to 65. Once you start pushing the guys and go faster than that, then they lose a hole or something, and they end up missing 3 days. So I think slow and steady wins the race.
And then final question, a question everybody likes to ask a lot. How long until we get assays, and how many holes do you think you'll report at a time this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Assays are going to come out when they come out. I think I don't know when the assays are going to come out, but anywhere between now and 2 months from now. We just sent our first core out to the lab. How many we put out at a time? Definitely more than one. Probably anywhere between 2 and 4. We don't want to live and die by the drill hole. We got enough cash, but we wanted to tell a story. We got two drill rigs going out at once, and I don't think it's a single drill hole, should make or break a mine. So we want to keep traders on their feet so they're not timing when to buy and sell our stock. We want people to be long-term holders with American Eagle.
And with hole 19, is it fair to assume as long as you're seeing what you want to see in the hole, you'll keep going, and it could go to 1,000, if it's there?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think probably 8 to 900. It's at a 55-degree incline, and the more shallow those holes are, a little bit tougher they are to drill in length. So we're aiming around 8 to 850. We got that IP embayment, and that's going to be about 200 meters short of that. But if there's something in the IP embayment, we should be coming close at the end of hole for 19. I think the holes you should be looking to go deeper are the holes, probably north of 2420 or even 2422, kind of close to where 2204 was. And those are the ones where we kind of are more steep, and we're trying to hit, quote unquote, that jewel box underneath, that thing that we think is sourcing everything at surface, where all these dikes come from.